welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shad. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Screaming into the void, Brad.
Yep. So I know there's been a lot of concern out there in the internet sphere, and I just want to assure everyone watching this episode that no dogs were electrocuted in the making of this episode.
No.
Brad. I was actually going to say that breaking news. I actually broke my femur right before the show, but because of my superior genetics, it's already healed. That's
What's the big deal? I tore my quad this morning. I'm here. I'm hopping around. I'm fine.
I love Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi should probably hang it up, but it's the most Kota Ibushi statement to be like, yeah, they're telling me 2 years before I can wrestle, but I have superior genetics. Like, I'm sure it'll be less than that. It's like maybe just call it a day. Like,
and he's getting those
we still love you. Enjoy life.
And he's getting those injuries. Like you see football players and like contact sports players starting to get those injuries where your body's just saying, I've had enough, where like things just start breaking over nothing.
Yeah, they just start stacking. Vectron in chat is asking for context on the dog thing.
So Hassan Piker got in a bit of a kerfuffle last week because his dog was sitting in the background and he had a shock collar on and he shocked it on stream.
I think I'd heard some people say like, no, it's fake. It's all like fake. Like that it didn't happen. Like, or it wasn't.
I've seen video. He absolutely shocked the damn thing. I
don't know enough to care. I don't think he's a particularly good person. And that's not a comment on his politics or anything like that. I think that he's the whole like political
grifter sphere.
Yeah, and that goes right and left. Like, I'm not singling him out again because of his particular ideology. Like, I could say a lot of things about the right.
It's not really. It's
people
not really
who've been assassinated recently. I could say negative things about them too.
It's not really.
So it's not.
It's honestly, if you're not in his audience, like it's not really a political take to hate Hassan. Like, that's a pretty unifying concept between sides at this point. But I mean, honestly, like, he did it. Like, you see him reach off screen, the dog yelps and he doesn't react, and the dog does have like what looks like a shock collar on. So I'm 99% sure he used it. And there's been a lot of breakdown, a lot of drama over it. But there's been some tasteless yet funny cartoons about it. And, like, I think the big thing is he reaches off screen, the dog yelps, and he doesn't react. Like, if my dog yelped like that dog yelped, like, you would see me, like, turn around and be like, what the f...
Yeah, at the minimum, you'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Like, why?
Yeah. So, it was a bit of a joke just because... And like I said, it's not really a political thing. Both sides are the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like... Shitting on him is like shitting on Pearl Davis, where that's something like you don't have to be of a political ideology to think they suck. So anyway, we have a fun array of matches tonight. So we're sneaking over to All Japan, which we've done a little bit here and there, but we're doing some tag stuff mostly with the Fantastics. And a little side topic with Joe and Dean Malenko. But first, we're going to be talking about what I feel was a very embarrassing black eye on wrestling, which was the last match between the Dudleys and the Hardys this weekend.
Yeah, and a little backstory. This was on TNA. TNA's Bound for Glory, which was like historically it was their WrestleMania. It's supposed to be like their big pay-per-view of the year. They claimed an attendance of almost 8,000, and yet I didn't watch the show. I saw clips of the audience, and it's like
they had a decent audience, but I don't think it was 8,000.
They may have, but it's like don't think that you had.
They might have had 3 or 4.
And there were people I media. I I also saw on like social media 2 guys going around at least purporting to be like they were giving away tickets. So if that's true, then it looks like it was probably you could have been pretty comped. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think they had.
It
3
didn't
or
look
4
like there was
there.
a ton of people there. They certainly didn't seem excited.
But it made me. Well, it just. I think they did this like 12 years ago too. They had their last match like 12 years ago, but it just. This is across like media, but like wrestling's fallen into it now. But like how nostalgia has just stagnated pop culture completely, and we can't get anything new or get away from things. Because like if you think about when the Hardys and Dudleys like big feud was, it was like 2000, 2001. So if this was the Monday Night Wars, like think back to when we were watching the Monday Night Wars, you would be running a gimmick from the early 70s. Like this would be bringing like Bruno and Ivan Koloff back for like one last match.
Yeah, I gotta be so honest. I was never the biggest fan of the Hardys as a team because the Hardys as a team were Matt's trying to do stuff and Jeff's jumping off of high things. And it's like, I know people like it, but that just did not engage me. And so, and when they had TLC matches, like, it was Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, and oh yeah, the Dudleys are there too. That's how it was in my mind. Like they were willing to do the stuff. So maybe I'm being like really uncharitable, but I don't care that. Look, okay, here, gonna sound slightly like a pig, but then again, you know, college age guy. What caught my eye? What got me watching the Dudleys match just when Stacy was their manager. You know, I was not a huge Dudley guy.
I think what's annoying though is like, so you're doing this in TNA, where I would say Bully Ray is better known as a singles worker. So like you've actually like regressed him for this like nostalgia bait match from somewhere like that he had grown beyond, like way beyond. If you go back to TNA, like years beyond that.
Yeah.
That gimmick.
It just doesn't seem like that there's so much about this I just don't.
When did this become
I just
like,
don't care. That's what I need to just go with.
When did this become like acceptable though? Because I feel like even in like if someone had tried to run like Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage one last time in like 2008, they would have been laughed off the stage.
So I've got this, might be a weird thought about it, but it seems to me, sorry, I've got this weird like fall allergy thing going. It's hard for me to kick this cough. It seems to me that at one point the nostalgia was you went back and watched the old stuff again instead of, well, let's do our version of the old stuff. For example, I like hearing different genres do covers of music. I enjoy listening to like Postmodern Jukebox do stuff. I like that, but that's putting your own spin on the original thing. It's not going back and just doing the original thing beat for beat. And I don't. It bothers me because it feels like it's a desperation grab kind of thing. And it's like, dude, it just. This is not. I don't know who this is for, I guess, is what I'm trying to build towards.
Well, and I think like the people online that are all like, "Oh my god, this is so awesome." It's like, were you even like 4 years old when it happened the first time?
Yeah, I have to feel like a lot of the people that are gushing about it, it's like, did you even watch it? Like, we were all of a certain age when it happened. Like, and we were probably really into
we were like,
wrestling at that time.
I
We were
think
younger.
I think those of us on the show were between the ages of like 18 and 21 when that was like the feud.
Yeah, and it was look, I was into it at the time because, that was what was hot at the time, but also, I mean, I'd seen ECW, but ECW at that point, well, it kind of like the heyday of even ECW was kind of less then. But I mean, you weren't seeing people really kind of doing stuff like the TLC matches. So it was kind of like,
And you
I
weren't
guess you could
seeing
use the word innovative.
and it's kind of naturally built because they were doing like they did some of those ladder matches in like 99 where they were doing like
Yeah.
the crazy bumps and stuff, and then they started doing the tables matches because that was kind of like the Dudleys thing.
They're just adding more and more stuff on, over and over and over again, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's great, I guess, but I know as we do this, I know how I feel is I feel like this,
Hmm.
because it frustrates me, man. It's never as good as it used to be. It's just not. You can look at it and be like, oh man, back in the day it was this and this. It's like that's fine, but it ain't that anymore. And
What
trying to run back the old stuff doesn't usually work. Things progress, things change, and
people
there's a
age.
reason why. Yeah, baseball isn't the same as it used to be. Basketball isn't the same as
Funny thing about
basketball
baseball.
went through a period where everything, like, hang on, let me finish my point. Everything in the NBA used to be like, playing defense was chump change. It's about getting points on the board. And now playing defense is a huge deal, and trying to block off where people are going for big shots instead of just, you know, we'll get the ball back and let us go get some points. It feels like that there's the changes that happen are because the whatever it is you're watching matures or grows,
Yeah,
and what used to be the old thing is not there anymore. And so I don't know, man. It's I don't want, if you want to do a callback, that's fine. That's great. If you want to reference the old stuff, that's fine. That's great. But I don't like, the Bruce Springsteen reliving the glory days thing.
I was gonna say
Okay,
it's
I'm sorry. I'll
funny.
stop.
It's funny you mentioned baseball because baseball's having like a resurgence in popularity and kind of a renaissance because they changed things. They were like, "Hey, we need to modernize the game. We need to get like pitchers on a pitch count and not let batters get out of the box. We need to speed the game up." And you know what? They've gotten super popular again.
Yeah. Well, and this is going to be a take that might get me in trouble, but I think that having a not major, not even competitor, but companion with like banana ball stuff draws people into the original. They get drawn into the banana ball stuff, and then they get used to watching baseball, and then it's easier to transition into baseball. There's an easy entry point, and then it's an easy transition to the real thing.
I think there's something about baseball and kids too. Kids just love baseball. But it's across like it's not just a wrestling thing. It's like across it's across like multiple lines cuz like comic books have not had any
Hmm.
meaningful change in like 20 years that they won't go back on in a year because there's this point where both companies got this like obsession with this like iconic version in a lot of cases that aren't like true of characters. So like if you go and read a comic in the 80s, like you don't know what you're going to get. Like the characters have moved on, they've changed stuff, they've adapted them, but now it's like if you go and read a Spider-Man comic book, well, he can't be with Mary Jane because Peter Parker has to be single. And like we can't put him back in high school,
Okay,
even though
yeah.
he was in high school for only 28 issues, but that's what we really want to do with him, and we always try to get him back in high school. Or it's like Batman, they they totally that book's still suffering for it. But there was a point almost a decade ago now, not quite a decade ago, where they're gonna have Mary Catwoman, and they bait and switched everyone, and people were
I
pissed
hated that.
because they were like, "Oh my god, like that was actually going to be an interesting change, and you did not do it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Joe
why-
Quesada can kiss. I'm not even a big Marvel guy, but Joe Quesada can kiss the darkest part of my white ass for one more day. Like I'm not over that, and I'm not going to be.
Well, there's also in Marvel the whole like Paul situation with Mary
They
Jane
finally
and-
got rid
and
of
Peter
him.
Parker, if you know anything about it. Yeah, but to go to what you're saying, Brad,
Son
about
of a bitch, Paul.
to go what you're saying though, Brad, that's why I haven't even read it. I've only seen like some images and I've read about it. But the whole Absolute Batman series,
Oh, I
to
love
me,
it.
it's like this is an absolutely fascinating book that I want to kind of get the issues, or at least like trade paperbacks if they put them out, because
You gotta-
it is
you
a
gotta
completely, in
fight
my opinion, it's
for
like a completely interesting take.
You gotta fight for it because
Good.
I got in because it's only 13 issues, so I got in and got the back issues, but it is rough because it is popular. Like they have to reprint them all the time, and like they reprinted number 4, which was like impossible to get, and I only got it because my comic guy just happened to put one to the side. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you this one." But it's like so basically what it is it's how can we be more stupid than the last issue?
But it also, it seems who's writing this?
Scott Snyder.
It's Scott Snyder. That's right.
Yeah.
It's I'm like, this an actual like name
No, yeah,
writer.
it's a name.
Essentially, it's like, what if they kind of made Batman and took like the really hyper ultra violence that you'd see from a writer like Garth Ennis, and then let's take Batman's rogue gallery and just make all of them essentially like an Elden Ring, Dark Souls,
Well, he had
cosmic horror, like Eldritch Abomination.
actually a lot
like,
of
they're
them
all like
lot-
like
a lot of them were in a lot of them were in a crew with him. So like he had Croc, Riddler, Joker, Penguin, and Two-Face, like pre-villain, were all like his friends and they were helping him out at first. I won't spoil it, but they all just got like taken out because because I don't think Shad would like it because of the violence, but it's the best Bane they've done since like Chuck Dixon.
I mean, let's not necessarily count that out. I'd have to see it, but
I saw like a office a panel or something, or just something I read. But basically, it's like Bane. He's drawn to just grotesquely huge proportions, where it's like, here, like basically here's Batman, and it's like here's Bane, like giant Bane, and then at some point it comes out, it's like, oh yeah, this is just me. I haven't even used Venom yet. Then it's like, oh god, now everyone's fucked. Bane is just a monster, an absolute monster, and he's not even. This is before Venom.
If you go, and it's an interesting take. It's over the top and ridiculous, and each issue kind of tops the last one, but it's telling a good story in there. Like they did Mr. Freeze, and like the horror element of that was really good, and then they did Black Mask for the first angle or first.
Hey, see, you got actually that just brings up a good point by itself. Bane and Black Mask were not old school Bat villains.
Yeah,
they were creations in. Bane was in the 90s. Black Mask was late 90s, early aughts.
Yeah,
something
no,
like that.
I think Black Mask might have been like an obscure villain from like the 70s that they brought and made more important around like No Man's Land.
Okay. Okay, so
definitely, he definitely got way more important No Man's Land. I think he had been around before then. I don't know how frequently he was used.
Kind of like how Johns brought Necron back in the Green Lantern stuff.
I think he was like a C-lister.
That works.
Well, let me see what his first appearance was. But I'm going to throw a spoiler out here. It doesn't really ruin much, just to give you kind of a taste of some of the different things they're doing. But his mom's still alive in this. Only his
Oh,
dad
interesting.
was killed, and they kind of play around with that, but yeah. So his mom's still alive. Let's see,
So that
Black
that
Mask.
I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead. I'll sit on my point.
Well, I was gonna just say that, yeah, it's to me, it's like one of the most interesting things in comic books right now, but because it's Batman, but it's completely telling something new and different. And that kind of reminds me, it's a few years old at this point, maybe even like a decade old. It's been around a long time, but the whole uh, Batman like metal series,
Yeah, that's
I thought that was
that's
actually pretty interesting and cool at the time. But the problem with that is that some of the characters, mainly like the Batman Who Laughs, which is basically like, what if you took Batman
yeah.
and merged him with the Joker? Like that's basically an evil Batman, but very Joker-like.
Yeah.
It was interesting, and it started off interesting, and that character has been written kind of interesting, but it also became very popular, and so Disney did what unfortunately like a lot of companies do, a lot of corporations do, is like, oh, something's popular, people must want 1,000 of it right now, and it's like, no,
You want
no.
a million
And that,
billion appearances by the Batman Who Laughs? It's like,
yes, and then that
no.
that unfortunately across like all of media and all of entertainment, that's exactly what seems to happen like whenever corporations get something. And it even happens like outside of like that. I mean, like we talked before in the show that even if something like you have a musical artist in music like becomes like a hit, if they're not like, an industry plant like trying to force you to like this type of this artist or whatever, but you have an artist that like it gets over, corporations be like, oh, that's making money right now, people like it, I need 100 of them tomorrow. And it's like,
Yeah.
no,
I think, but see, I think though,
I
I
don't
think
want that.
that's not necessarily a corporation thing though. That's also a human nature thing because think back when we were in college and AVGN hit really big, and think about how many, or even Doug Walker too. Think about like the angry reviewer ripoff, like that was
Yeah.
huge.
I mean, there was that guy with the glasses was a whole site of people doing that sort of thing, and then there were even more that didn't get on there because, frankly, they weren't good. The thing I was going to say is on back at the about the nostalgia thing was I like the idea. I used to get I still get on Jeff Johns' case about continuity wank.
Yeah,
Everything has to be tied together. It doesn't, but something Johns does that I like is Johns will reach back in the catalog and find a character to reuse that wasn't used a whole lot. Black Hand, Necron, bringing back what he did with the Sinestro Corps and Atrocitus and all, like the
Black
whole
Adam
War of
was
Light
kind of
is
not.
a good example.
Black Adam was kind of not a
Yeah.
super used one.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of Black Adam stuff, and then that came back through the Justice Society and got expanded out. That's why everybody loves Black Adam now. It's because of Justice Society stuff. So I think that there's a good way to do nostalgia where you're like, oh, I remember that. That's so cool. Without it being every godforsaken thing just being a retread of the old stuff.
Well, and
And then Bubba Ray Dudley turns around like he's got his pants full.
I think with John's, and I think Seven Soldiers of Victory by Grant Morrison did this really well. Like taking an old concept but doing something different with it and like updating it,
Mhm.
like the Legion of Newsboys, like how Grant Morrison handled that. But a lot of what Jeff Johns does is also, oh hey, here's this like concept from the 60s, but like I'm gonna modernize it and make it interesting to the point where you're gonna want to go back and read this and be disappointed because it's not the same. But I think it's stagnated
So
everything though.
yeah,
And it frustrates me. Like Star Wars is terrible about this. Because Star Wars you can't do like anything interesting in right now.
because everything has to go back to the Skywalkers.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, this series sucks, but we're gonna dangle some keys, or it all goes back to Dave Filoni's waifu.
So here's another thing that bothers me about that. In the everything has to go back to the Skywalkers. Spoilers. I don't care, but I'll be nice enough to say it. What happens at the end of the last main continuity Star Wars movie? The whole movie's about moving on and not being what you were tied to anymore. And what happens? When they ask, they say Skywalker. It's like, well, that just misses the entire point. What was the whole point of what we did? What was the whole point of the story you were telling? Not that. It's like, no, I'm going to have this name now because I get to do that because no one's going to say no.
It's such a, you know why I hate that is because it's such an encapsulation of her character and how she didn't earn anything in that series.
I'm just saying, man, it's so frustrating to have that. And then to see it, the thing that makes it harder in wrestling is that so many of the people that are wanting to do this sort of stuff can't really do it anymore.
No,
You know, they're just not able to do it. And so what do we get? What do we get to see? Is instead of this match that reminds you of this awesome thing you got to see ever how long ago, you get to see 4 broken down dudes hobbling their way through trying to recapture their old glory. And it's like, dude, I'm not
remember
interested.
remember when we laughed at Hogan and Piper in a cage and it was called Age in a Cage and they would be spring chickens compared to like Edge in the cage this year.
What were they like?
44
what were they, like,
and 40,
40th?
44 and like 42, I think. But I mean, we had like what 51-year-old Edge in a cage this year.
Oh no, that was a couple of years ago. Because the idiot jumped off the top of it, wasn't planned.
No,
and
he wrestled Moxley in a cage this year.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because that was Age in a Cage too,
Still.
and then I think WWE was playing around with Age in a Cage 3.
Okay, I don't think it's fair to call the Copeland match Age in a Cage because Moxley's not. You know, Moxley's in his 30s. He can still go.
I think if you add their ages together, it wasn't. I mean, I still think Age in a Cage was not as fair, but still fair. But I like just the fact that like they're doing stuff like WWE, like they haven't gotten anyone over in years because they can't get away from nostalgia. Like they're doing Cody, they did Cody and Seth again.
Yeah, that went super well. Great. Awesome. I loved that. That was excellent. Cody, because there's Seth, who I will give Seth credit for this. Seth is trying to do something new, but in trying to do something new, wow, he did something really dumb.
That was so dumb. I can't believe that got cleared.
I bet that they didn't ask. They just, well, okay, maybe. I was going to say I bet they didn't ask, they just did it. But then on the other hand, there may have been an agent who was telling them something. Whatever.
Because like the Rob Van Dam one, like was at least you went feet first.
You went feet first and landed on your back like you were taking a bump. Seth jumps, goes head first and lands on his side. And the one time I landed on my side in the ring because someone was giving me an overdrive and I didn't rotate fast enough for it, so I landed on my left side. Oh my God, everything hurt so bad because it was like I could feel my skeleton flex.
But even taking it though, it's more dangerous because now you have someone's skull coming at you and you can't see it versus someone just giving you a little kick in the back.
Yeah, if you keep your knees loose whenever you get there, your legs will bend. If you're going head first, then good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, you have less control, kind of, right? Like, he's got a long distance to go, and I mean, how are you landing on you? Shad, you were working. How are you landing on that? You could do the side, but I mean, isn't it that he actually, it seems to be like he injured his arm or shoulder? I think last I had heard, I don't know more, but I heard potentially he fractured his arm.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think he landed on it, or he could put his hand down and
Well, they had a match, so I don't know.
If you're gonna do that, spot, and I don't recommend you doing it, but if you're gonna do it, you jump going forward face down, so you land like a face bump. That way you can flatten it out or get your arms under you or something like that. Not Kokeshi your way across the ring and land on your side.
Well, isn't that why, like, I hate to bring him up, but isn't that why Voldemort would like put his arms up like this when he would fall, so like you're taking the bump and not having your arms get in the way? I mean, it looks cool when you do it.
It looks impressive, yeah, but
it also is giving you like kind of a land, like a landing where everything kind of balances.
spreads out. And provided Voldemort's problem was that he would actually legitimately try to land a headbutt instead of getting close, but he would try and land flattened out.
Yeah.
Which disperses it on the body, but he's still hitting his head really hard. The thing that I liked about, like, okay, Harley Race and Bam Bam Bigelow, when they would do it, they just kind of like jumped off for it, but they're landing like this. And there's control and that sort of stuff.
I think Bam 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 was fat, so I think Bam Bam like kind of hit stomach first and came down. But I think they also hit like, so their lower body would kind of hit first too. If I had to look, because they always came off a little.
I'd have to look
different, but yeah, they did it much better.
See, I remember Danielson doing a diving headbutt, and he would spread his arms like this too. But I can't swear to it, but I swear I thought he pulled his arms up underneath him when he'd land.
I don't remember. I haven't seen him do one in a long time.
No, he didn't do it for a long time. But he did used to do it.
Well, it's interesting, kind of to tie the nostalgia baiting in. I was watching these matches this week, and I'm like, man, like, these matches are really good, and I'm really enjoying this, but God, have I seen, like, some untalented motherfuckers cosplay this shit for, like, the last 30 years of my life.
So the matches we got into, the thing that's interesting is, in a lot of cases, they're not doing anything complicated, but it really works. And I mean, we could just say, yeah, they're really good, and they are, but breaking down more of why it really works that can be a little more difficult, trying to put your finger on the why exactly.
Yeah, so three of these matches are from 89 and one's from 95, because I pulled that one first and then I got in a bit of a rabbit hole. So so the one from 95 is the Fantastics versus Takeo Omori and Jun Akiyama. And then from 89 we have the Fantastics versus Joe and Dean Malenko, and then we have a fan cam from 89, which is Footloose against the Fantastics. And then for the final match, we have the Fantastics versus the British Bulldogs.
I would not have known that was a fan cam if you hadn't told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it didn't register. I'm watching the match and getting into it, and it just, I never thought about it.
No, that
really, maybe
that guy shot that
maybe
better than
fan cams.
That guy shot that better than like 90% of the indie shows I've seen.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Matt?
I've seen probably enough fan cams. So I immediately knew. I'm like, oh, fan cam footage. But I don't think I've ever seen that in an actual like Japanese like show.
So they've
I've never seen like a Japanese fan cam.
So but like there's some cultural stuff there. Japanese fans tend to hoard footage, but they've found stuff like PWO has figured out how to get on like Japanese eBay at some point in like the last decade, and Peter F, who's the user there, shout out to him. He doesn't watch this, but he bought like a literal crap load of like years worth of like New Japan fan cams at some point. So a lot of this stuff is a bit newer, I think. But let's start. We'll go with 95 first, because that's the first one we watched. So this is the Fantastics versus Omori and Akiyama, and this was a fun This is a fun little match. My main complaint was Akiyama wore like the same color of tights as them, so it made things a little
Oh
difficult
yeah.
at times.
I didn't like that. It was just like, oh God, serious? Are we? Oh God, okay.
This was I mean, 95 was obviously the Fantastics been together like a long time at this point. I think it like a long time, but uh, one thing that I like wrote down on my notes that I actually was like, I was really like interested is like what the hell happened? Why was Bobby Fulton like so worked up? Because he was just, as they say, full of piss and vinegar. All
Because
he was like giving it to Amori and Akiyama,
I think
just like.
they were playing grumpy vets in this match.
I see. I did note that they seemed like they were kind of like working heel
No, they were.
with this,
The
but
way
yeah,
they were,
yeah,
I would take it they were playing grumpy vets that were
mm,
beating on the young pups.
yeah,
Because like what I loved about the match is so like anytime Akiyama or Mori went in the ropes near the Fantastic side, they got double teamed, no matter what.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah. There actually, I looked it up. Uh, there was some slight, I guess, back history here because I guess in January the Fantastics faced Akiyama and Omori for like the tag titles, and the Japanese team obviously they went over. So there's like a backstory where it's like the Fantastics. I don't know if they had faced them since then, or this is the first time they're facing them, in the following 8 months since that January match. But now, you have two teams that one team lost to the other for the title. So there was a little bit of that backstory. So I don't know if that played into like the story was going on. Or it was just like you said, they're just grumpy old vets, like just being surly and smacking the guys around. But Fulton, I thought to me was the highlight of this match just because he was just fired up the entire one. Rogers was good, but he was just like, I don't think he played it up as much as Fulton. Fulton just seemed like he was on fire. Although I was thrown off by his like lack of long flowing
Mullet.
gold locks. Yeah. Well, yeah, no mullet, short brown hair. I'm like, is this him? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Bobby Fulton was great in this, and I just loved not only the teamwork, but like you said, the Fantastics never missed an opportunity.
mm,
They never missed a chance to get involved and do something mean, nasty, whatever. And so, even anywhere near the corner, one of them's leaning in to do something, or hops in to run across the ring and pop the other guy, or something like that. They were just continuous motion through this match, and it was great.
I also like with the All Japan tags that the referee doesn't do well, I'm a dummy. It's like if someone comes in and refuses, like, hey, get out of here, I'm going to disqualify you. Like,
Hmm.
I think people would find that a little boring and maybe disorienting. But like as the matches went on, I'm like, this is better because it doesn't make anyone look stupid or like strain my credibility.
I always wish someone would codify that rule so there's a good way to describe it. It's like the ref, because I know it used to be supposedly you had a 5 count before the other person that tagged out had to get out of the ring. Okay, but how often is that adhered to? And when you have like a party match or something like that, whatever, fine. But if you're wanting to be serious and have a serious match on, it's like I kind of wish they would. But then you get towards the end of the match and things break down and people are flying everywhere and the refs kind of lost control of it. I get that too.
Well, I think these were all. Was Joe Higuchi the ref on all these? I know three
maybe
of
sent a
the
link. Let
89.
me let me look it up.
The 89 ones were all him. I don't remember if the 95 one was him. It's usually him, but you do get the odd match without him. Even you go back to the 70s, it's him, and he's still bald.
It was, it was absolutely him for the 89 ones, like you said.
Yeah.
I actually have to go back and look to see.
Because he's a staple. If you watch any All Japan, like he's the first one you'll start recognizing consistently. I also like that. I thought the double team that Amori and Akiyama did, where he like lifted him up for kind of like a belly to back suplex, and then the other guy like clotheslined him. I thought that was cool. That should have been the finish, though.
There's plenty of stuff that it bugs me when you have something that looks like, hey, that'd be a good finish, and they keep going. It's like, oh, I really wish you didn't do that.
And I like the way I liked. Well, actually, the Fantastics, like their strikes looked really good in this match, especially Bobby Fulton's.
Yeah. Oh man, he's fired up. It's great.
Yeah, that was something that I noticed. Well, especially with all the fantastic matches, and they were great workers. We've seen some fantastic stuff, fantastic matches from actually, like obviously America.
The Sheep Herders match, the Sheep Herders match,
the Sheep Herders one.
But
also just
the Clash 1 match with the Midnights with all the plunder was. Really
that's
good.
a classic one.
Yeah.
We've seen some great stuff out of them, but it did seem like they lived up to the stereotype of, gaijin workers coming over to Japan and working just that little bit extra harder. And especially like in All Japan. Like All Japan was obviously a very, very heavy like work rate promotion. But they looked really good. They looked good in all the matches, but I like this one in '95 just because they did seem to work a little like snug. Not dangerous, not like taking liberties, but the strikes look good. And to me, like that actually matters a lot. Obviously, because in Japan, it is presented more like it's an athletic competition.
Yeah.
Meaning, it's obviously not real, but they're trying to make it seem like it's an actual combat sport of two men. So, like two groups of men fighting. So it's important for the strikes to look like believable.
Yeah.
Like, and they everything looked pretty solid. And you'd even see sometimes like with Fulton, like maybe he do it and he did like a SWAT or something at the Japanese team, like when he's leaving. And it's like that to me even seemed like believable because like he's playing like the surly vet. He's pissed off about something. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'm gonna like be unfair and just give like a swipe at them.
Yeah.
And so everything I thought was believable. Everything looked good. It was there was a logic to it, which I appreciated.
And they did have a blown spot in this match, but they did cover it pretty well.
Yeah.
Because Rogers went for a moonsault and he completely missed, so he just crawled over and covered him. But it was like, I was like, if you missed a moonsault, that's probably what you would do. Like, I think that was actually a good cover for it.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, overshot that one there, buddy. But when it wasn't that, in terms of being overshot, it feels like it was just like right on the cusp.
Yeah, he missed it by like
his head was right next to the dude's arm on the mat. And then so he just leans over and does the cover and I'm like, okay, that's we're moving forward, we're not drawing attention to it.
What?
It's like, okay, that's a good move.
I mean, if you legitimately missed a moonsault too, I think you would just try to cover them because you got them bad enough that you could do a moonsault. So why not try to pin them after that? But I think that was about as good as you could cover that spot without like lampshading it more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just enjoyed this. I enjoyed watching the Fantastics just run riot here.
I actually enjoyed all the matches this week quite a bit. I didn't enjoy the Bulldogs one as much, but there was some issues with that one. So then we're gonna kick over to 1989, which this one came up and I had to do it. I will say it's getting saved for a different week, but I found from 1990. I found a Joe and Dean Malenko versus the Funks match, which we're gonna have to do at some point because. We have to. And what else was there? Was some other crazy. Oh, I found a Joe versus Dean match from '89 All Japan. We might have to do that too. So this is the Fantastics versus the Malenkos in '89. This is clipped, which makes me really sad because I think I like this match the most out of all of them.
For me, the first match we talked about was my favorite out of them. But
Because they were
anyway,
just
please
they were just
go
doing
on
some
ahead.
interesting stuff with this. Like the double teams are really interesting. I just like some of the ways they were like working together, like getting out of like situations. Um, I liked Dean was really fired up in this. Like his uppercuts look really good. I don't remember if he did those in WCW much.
Which one, the Malenkos versus the Fantastics?
Yeah, he did them in both of
Yeah,
their
from
matches.
July. Yeah, but in July 15th, 1989 was the one, and it was joint JIP, Joint in Progress, um, which I did wonder initially because it's like, did they just start like a second into it? It was short.
No, this would have been.
It seemed like
they
yeah.
A lot like the footage we have is from TV, so it had to have been on TV in some format, which is probably cut. So they only had a half-hour TV at points, and at most they had an hour. So like you would just get random stuff off the tour to fill out the TV. So a lot of times you get stuff joined in progress because they want to highlight something, but they don't want to like eat up, a fourth of a show with a tag with two teams that probably aren't like. This is probably like second or third on a show from the from the bottom.
This was really good though. From what we saw. The Malenkos were actually really over with the crowd. Like they're getting like a big reaction. And I thought this was really fun. I mean, I actually had never seen anything from Joe Malenko.
No,
I'd actually never seen.
You have because they were in.
Oh wait,
they were in the
WCW
NWA tag tournament. They were in that.
Oh, you're right. Okay, that's the one time I saw.
Yeah,
I saw Joe
so
Malenko.
We have seen them before.
Once before, but I'd always heard that they had like a good tag team, and it does kind of make me want to see more of their like All Japan stuff because they actually were pretty. I thought they were pretty good. I know you guys have some misgivings about Joe, and I do think obviously Dean was the far better of the two.
I think Joe. I think this is what I think. Joe works really well with Dean. I think he's a good tag worker. Mm-hmm. He does not have Dean's charisma, and I think he can be a bit of a stiff. No. And I think he's definitely like you can tell Dean's more talented, but like as far as them as a team, I think they're interesting. I think they're unique in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I can't think of another team quite like them.
So in watching this, I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just your thoughts going to probably be a little more interesting than mine. I was just going to say like there's been a lot of brother tag teams in wrestling. We even talked about the Hardys, but I thought Joe was really technically good, and I personally thought I saw more of that in the Bulldogs match, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But I did think they were both good. I agree with Brad, all the kind of reservations you have about Joe as a worker. They're also they were great for the time, but it's also I think maybe they missed their time period because if that was a tag team like in the last few years, they actually would be.
I think
doing great stuff in a place like AEW.
I think they had issues because of their dad. Like I think they had to wrestle like outlaw stuff for a long time. That's why they didn't break until later. I'm guessing he ran like counter to CWF at some point or something. I'd have to look it up. That's just something I think I heard at one point. But like because looking at them, there's no reason they couldn't have been in a major promotion, and I think they had been around for a while at this point. But like
one of the things that I would say is probably in the territories it wouldn't have mattered. And in the 80s, and it's really 89, like the territories, they were still somewhat around. But I think their size probably would have made a difference, at least in certain places, because they look perfectly.
They didn't look out of place with the Bulldogs.
No, not too out of place, but height-wise, like the Bulldogs weren't exactly like, I don't recall Davey Boy Smith. He was big, obviously very muscular, but I don't think he was like, 6'4", 6'5", and Dynamite was kind of short, but obviously well built. Uh, and they were like, they paired well with like the Japanese team and the Japanese and also like the Fantastics, but the Fantastics weren't like big. Like back in their day, they were kind of like considered like cruiserweights.
They were a blowjob team, so they weren't big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
They
weren't
weren't
big,
big dudes. Yeah.
which again, this is like the weird thing about pro wrestling is that well, now you have people like Orange Cassidy, who is in fantastic shape. But if Orange Cassidy stood next to you, like in the grocery store, you see Orange Cassidy. It's like he's not much taller than you. He's not juiced up, jacked to the gills. He's just a really in shape guy who's athletic and acrobatic, and that's what a lot of guys are like now.
Yeah,
Back in the day, people like the Fantastics, were probably like 5'10", but
above average,
like 200.
Yeah,
like a little over like 200 pounds, and like really obviously like well built because they go to the gym. They'd be like you'd walk by, and maybe they're not like 6'5", but they're average height and they're really jacked. So you're like, oh, that's a big dude, must be like a bodybuilder, whatever, like that. But back in the day, they wouldn't have made it they wouldn't have made it like in Vince, because it's like, look at these guys, they're like 5'10", 200 pounds.
They're not big.
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do? Put them up against like, an 89 like Demolition?
yeah.
Like two big dudes who were like 6'4", 6'5".
Which is funny because they had Tully and Arn around, and neither one of them was tall either. But
nah, they're kind of beefy though. They're like,
because I think the per capita wrestler is smaller now. I think that's kind of why they freaked out and like filled NXT with all these athletes so they could get there. Because I think WWE has been trying to like force the steroid look back, especially in the Triple H years. But like, I think if you went back since Shad wrestled, I think if Shad wrestled in the 80s, he would probably be average size to below average for a wrestler in like the 80s. Whereas in his era, when it was getting smaller, he was above average size. Like, I don't think that would have been true if he had come along 20 years earlier.
yeah, I was tall enough on the indies that I could get away with doing a choke slam. That's so the thing that I was gonna say is I was gonna agree with Brad. Watching Joe, I think that Joe Malenko's kind of a stiff. He's a competent stiff. He's technically competent in everything, but his movements seem stiff, and it was like he was always keeping his back straight and trying to stand up whenever he was doing anything. So, you're reaching down and doing a move on the mat, but he's still kind of like standing upright and reaching down with his arms to do it. And it's like, it just seemed so weirdly unnatural to me.
He doesn't have body charisma either. I think that's the other problem. Like, he is confident, and I agree with your, like, the stiff thing kind of comes and goes, like, because I don't think he looked as much of a stiff against the Fantastics, but he doesn't have, like, a lot of body charisma to him. Like, he doesn't really pull you in.
Yeah,
he worked really well in the tag team with Dean. And I would say I would need to see a little more to really say this, but from what we did see with just the two matches, like, I thought they both looked really good.
Yeah,
so I would almost want to say like they could have had like an interesting run in places, but
their psychology is interesting because Joe does something in the Bulldogs match that I thought was really interesting, where Dean does this, like, he rolls behind British Bulldog and tries to wrap him up, and he almost gets him on a quick count, and he tags Joe in, and Joe actually gets Bulldog in the corner and does like the same move to him because he saw it worked. So he's like, hey, maybe I can make it work this time. Like, so I thought I thought that was an interesting bit of psychology. They do some interesting like double teams here. They do a couple of little comedy-ish spots in here that I thought was interesting. And but no, both teams did kind of like really interesting double teams. Like some of the ways they saved each other. The way they broke stuff up, I thought was interesting.
Hmm. I gotta tell you, man, from watching this, I would take the Fantastics over the Bulldogs any day. Because for like these two, we had 4 matches for this show. 2 of them had the Fantastics, 2 of them had the Bulldogs, 1 of them had crossover.
No, Bulldogs are
Is
only
that
one.
right?
Bulldogs are only one.
Bulldogs are only one. Okay. And I know part of the Bulldogs thing was, big, strong dudes, but I don't know, man. It's
The problem with that match is Dynamite Kid is washed and he's cooked. He's beyond washed and cooked. And like so, I think Bulldog's really good in that match, but he's having to carry the whole load for the team because Kid just has nothing to offer.
it's the thing that bugged me, and it's just a personal thing because I hate seeing the exact same spot done over and over again. I couldn't tell you why. Every time Davy Boy does a move, goes for a pinfall, and doesn't get the pin, just goes right back to that arm lock, and I'm like,
See, but sometimes
because he's not doing anything to work the arm. It's just like, okay, pinfall, nope, arm lock, and I'm like,
Sometimes though,
but
he would like lock the arm and be like, "Well, I'm just doing this because I want to get you in the corner. So I'm just doing this to hurt you in the corner so I can do something I want to do."
if you're gonna, if it was me, and we do the pinfall, and I want to use the arm to get you in the corner, I'm grabbing you by the wrist, I'm grabbing you by the shoulder, I'm barring the arm, but I'm using the shoulder to move you instead of I'm just hooking my arm around your arm again, and. It's just a taste thing. It bugs me.
And I did like in that match. Let's just go to that one next since we're already kind of talking about. But I did like in that match though. He wrestled like he should. He was the biggest guy in the match, and he acted like it.
Okay.
Because he'd be like, okay, well, I can mat work with you, but when I get my chance, I'm going to use my strength to abuse you. And I thought it was a cool spot. It was a dangerous as fuck spot, but they went to do their like Tower of London thing, which is like Davy Boy pressing Dynamite Kid, and Dean comes in and he drop kicks him and he just spills dynamite to the outside. That was cool as hell.
And Davy Boy went over too.
Yeah. But that was great. That's like
it was not for Dynamite, it was not an uncontrolled fall, by the way.
He hit the ropes.
He's up here.
He hit the ropes.
He hits the ropes. He's able to hook the rope and hit the apron and go to the floor. But it was a really good it was really good.
Visual. It was a visual. And obviously they must have worked that spot out at some point beforehand, which again, not that it wasn't spontaneous, but I think they planned it out. That's hence why like Dynamite knew, planned out how to take the fall versus, just tumbling. But that was pretty cool. That was towards the end. Again, I thought it was the whole match was really technically sound.
I like the Dean Bulldog stuff. I was like, because this shows you how much I enjoyed the Dean Bulldog parts. Like as soon as that was done, I typed out like Dean Malenko versus British Bulldog. Because I was hoping there was like an '89 match. Because I'm like, I really want to, because their part's really good. I thought they had good chemistry. Like Dean knew how to work like underneath, but was a threat to Bulldog, and Bulldog was like. Bulldog was obviously stronger, and he was showing like, hey, I can like flip around and do mat work too, but he also was vulnerable and like showed them respect. So I really liked how Bulldog played this. But like the problem I had with the match was if Bulldog was in, it was fine. The best parts were with him and Dean, and him and Joe did some stuff. But goddamn, if it was Dynamite Kid and Joe, it was terrible because Dynamite just had nothing to offer. Like he just wanted to lay there and do nothing.
So this was actually January. This match happened in January '89. Did he already have the back injury at this point?
Well, because remember, by the time this would have been after their second WWE run, so he was already washed in that run. Because remember, we watched. It would have only been a couple months before this. Remember, we watched Survivor Series '88, and he was just done at that point.
Yeah.
And he could
What
tell
was
he's pretty
Survivor?
stiff in this too.
Let me look this up. I think was Survivor Series.
Thanksgiving Day '88, so it would have been probably
Yep.
like 2 months before this.
Was that? I'm trying because remember he had a back injury, which basically like that was. Whether you want to say he was washed before, like that was for sure like the beginning of the end. Like he never really recovered. Like he still continued to wrestle for like a bit after that, but he was like a wreck. And I remember I watched a match. I forget what was this like a Mishinoko Pro show?
In '95,
It
like
could have
his
been.
last match, I think.
Was it on Super J Cup? There was a match he had. It was like a multi-man match, and Dynamite came out. And at that point, I hadn't really. I don't even know that I'd seen because I started watching wrestling in the '90s, but I hadn't seen like everything. So I don't even know if I had seen like his '80s British Bulldog run in the WWF. But he came out, and people were, like hyping it up, and it's like obviously now in hindsight, I've seen a lot more of his stuff, his Japanese stuff. You know, his matches with Tiger Mask back in the day. I didn't know like what was the big deal because he came out and he was a skinny fuck, and I'm like, who's this guy? Like he looked old and ill and skinny, and I'm like, what's the big deal about this guy? And that was I think '95, and like that's the one like 6 years after this, and he's just a completely different
I did
person.
find
Let me see.
there was, I think there's a from '90. There's like a Malenkos versus Dynamite Kid and Johnny Smith match. So he was still doing stuff in '90.
Oh yeah, yeah. His final wrestling match was on October 10th, 1996, at a Michinoku Pro event called These Days. I think I had that back in the day. Like I think I got that like a tape trader. Uh, yeah, Dos Caras, Kuniaki Kabashi, and Dynamite Kid versus Great Sasuke, Mil Mascaras, and Tiger Mask. Oh, Dynamite's body had degenerated to the point where he was practically skin and bones, as the bottom portion of his tights were very loose. Oh man, I remember it. He looked bad. Oh my God. While at the airport to return home on the next day, Dynamite had a seizure and was sent to the hospital immediately after. Jesus. Um,
Oh,
Well, I mean, we did that episode on him, and there's like a point like he pisses me off so much because he like in this match it's still like he's just juiced to the gills, and it's ridiculous.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so yeah. So the timeline of it is that I guess in January '87
Hmm.
is when there was that match that oh wait, he had already okay, December '86 he had the back injury. So that was at this point that was years prior to this. And then he had back surgery. And then Wikipedia, we're going by Wikipedia, so you know it's maybe fraught
Yeah.
with errors.
Well,
But
and they only care about WWE too.
yeah, it's it's alleging that he got injured in December '86, had back surgery, and then still he wrestled in '87 because I guess they had the titles. So he wrestled a match in January '87. So it would have been like a month, maybe a week or
Well,
two more.
no,
Five.
I think that title change was on TV, so God only knows when that actually happened. So it could have, it could have, it could have, it could have happened before the back injury or before he got surgery. Like that
Yeah, I
makes
mean,
sense though with how they were treated on TV at the time because they do disappear pretty quick into '87.
yeah, it looks like yeah, it looks like so. I mean, part of the reason why they were back in All Japan, it seems that it's because Baba like gave them like a ton of money. He gave them, according to Wikipedia, 20 grand each, which in 1989 money was
A
more
lot.
than 20 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. Like to come do the tour, and also the liberty of choosing which tours they wanted to participate in. Like, so that's actually like even better.
Well, they were
Um,
fresh off. They were like literally fresh off WWE because they were at the Survivor Series
yeah,
in '88.
but by 1990, um, I mean, it seems like they were in the '89 tag league, which happens like at the end of the year. But I mean, yeah, he was pretty on the downward swing at this point. And by 1990, you even had, to the extent you even saw the British Bulldogs in All Japan. It seems like Dynamite was being replaced by Johnny Smith.
And you can
So
tell in this match though that they're protecting him because Bulldog's taking a lot of the work.
Yeah. I guess I never knew what was the nature of his back injury. I'm guessing it's probably like lumbar.
After seeing the way he bumps and the way he wrestles, I do not know, but it doesn't surprise me he got a back injury. If he did it in WWE, they still had, I think, those god awful like boxing rings in '86.
Let me look it up.
So I don't know, but it wasn't.
His build height. His build height was 5'9", and build weight 225. Let's say the 5'9" is the accurate height. Like 225, like that's way too much weight on a frame like that.
Yeah,
like it is. He was obviously juiced to the gills. Like that's too much weight. You know, for that frame, and we did see how he bumped. It's like it's not a wonder he did get injured, and unfortunately very badly. I've said on the show before, like I know a little bit about medicine or musculoskeletal things like that. It's like a lumbar injury. That's very tricky, and depending upon the severity of it, assuming it's lumbar, because they say back, they don't say neck. So I'm assuming it's mid back would be thoracic. I don't think it's that. It probably like I would guess like lumbar. That's what a lot of people get. Lower back. Depending upon it.
Well, this is 86.
It seemed like he had surgery. It seemed like he had surgery, and it's like I would really counsel like people should not get surgery.
Well, and
unless
it's 86. Like I've listened to medical stuff, and like honestly, I don't know if there's like a line of demarcation, but like I kind of get the idea that like modern medicine, like the you know the way we know it, didn't really start until like 91 or 92.
Yeah, it would have been worse.
It would have been super invasive. Like you didn't have like the lasers and the all that stuff.
Yeah, like I would shudder to think what it was like 35 plus years ago. But I would generally say if you have a lumbar injury, if you have a spinal injury, it's in like you. I would hesitate to get surgery because
look at Vince.
That can open up a lot of complications.
I know Vince
doesn't always work. Yeah.
I know Vince is a piece of shit, but we've seen some pictures of Vince, and he had, how did they describe it? They said life-changing back surgery and not in a positive way. And I think he popped up somewhere, and like his muscle mass is gone, like just gone.
Yeah, because it can very, very significantly affect your mobility and and your ability to lift. Things.
Well,
like
they might have told him to stop too. They might have said you need to drop weight and get that muscle off the bones too.
Yeah, they probably did. I'm sure they did.
Yeah. Carrying too much weight on the frame coming up yet again.
I would say that really the two main reasons why you should ever get like actual surgery for your back is if you have stenosis, which is when your actual like your spinal column starts narrowing, which is like you should have surgery to clear out the stenosis, because if it gets too bad, then that can literally like compress or, even the worst case scenario, if things break off, it could even sever your spinal cord, then boom, or injure it. Boom, you're paralyzed. Or potentially if you have impingement, which is when a disc or some other part of your spinal column is actually like pinching the nerve, which can cause very severe pain. I actually know someone. She's young, but she had to have spinal surgery because it's like chronic pain. So those are really, I feel, the only times you should get it.
I know someone that got it because they were losing mobility to neuropathy, and they figured out that their disc was pinching a nerve.
Yeah, and you can have a lot of neurological issues with that, not just pain. You can start to have like muscle wasting, like atrophy.
Yeah.
which is obviously not good. So there
Well,
are some reasons, but generally,
and
like if especially the younger you are, like you should not
it's
search to avoid
generally
it.
like your back is a very delicate like thing, and from what I've read and why you need to wait is when you do it once, you start to deteriorate like everything around it because you've changed like how your back functions. So you're going to need more
Mhm.
surgeries down the line because it's going to cause like more failure.
Yeah, that's why I beat the drum on this show before, but I things like physical therapy, like that's actually what works because it strengthens your core overall and allows your body to heal. It strengthens everything else, so it carries everything else, all your muscles and everything carries the load, while things like your
Yeah.
back or whatever has time to heal, and your body can actually heal itself remarkably. Like there are a lot of things you'd be surprised how well your body can heal, but we
But
don't want to pay in this country for physical therapy. We just want to give people, 1,000 pills of OxyContin, and then it's like, oh my God, I can't believe there's an opioid
Yeah.
crisis. It's like, what do you think?
Yeah.
I will say from
Look,
experience.
my
Oh, go ahead, Chad.
my neck, where I get problems, I get a pinched
Mhm.
nerve. It when it's bad, it hurts right back here, and then when it gets really bad, it goes down my arm, and in worst
Mhm.
case, my arm gets weak, and it burns right down to here, all the way down to my
Mhm.
pinky. I don't know why my
Yep.
pinky instead of like my middle finger or whatever, but that all
It's
happened.
that's
Go
probably
ahead, man.
like a going into like your ulnar nerve, almost like you're getting like carpal tunnel type syndrome or cubital tunnel.
Yeah, but that happens strictly because, like, on the X-ray, my discs are okay,
Mhm.
but my neck doesn't have a bend in it anymore. So all it takes, there's some bone
Or
spurs, and it's kyphosis or soldier neck.
yeah.
And so all it takes is the wrong barometric pressure or not sleeping exactly right at night or something. And all of a sudden I'm just like,
Well, yeah,
you know,
that's the thing. Like, I think everyone has had in it. Like, you sleep weird on your pillow,
Yeah.
one night, maybe one night out of like in the year, and you wake up and it's like you get pain in your neck for like a day or two. It's like, I slept on my neck wrong. But what if you have an issue like you, where it's like the spinal curvature is off? So then
mm-hmm.
it's like, great. Now I'm going to be in pain for like 4 days. I could take a
Yep.
muscle relaxer or something for it to get normal again. So,
Yeah.
do you have
I,
like the pins and needles in your hand sometimes when
no,
that gets bad?
Oh, I got
no.
Okay.
that. I got that.
It just gets weak. And
Yeah.
then whenever, like, when it hurts, it hurts. At its worst, it burns. Like it's a burning sensation all the way down to my pinky, and it
Yeah.
makes my left arm weak.
And it's not really really weak, but it is because like your nerves aren't like telling your muscles like the right
Yeah.
information. So it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel
Like
as strong because it's
I
it's
can
not
like
firing
move
right.
it around, but it's an effort. And it's like,
Yeah.
don't ask me to pick something up with that arm. I just can't do it.
Well, that's as stupid as it is. Everyone's probably like slept on their arm or something like that. You wake up and it's like you gotta wake up, you gotta shake it, wake
Yeah.
back up, and it's like that. Those first like minute or two where you're trying to do something with it, your arm is heavy as hell. It's just like dead weight. It's like you have no like you really start to appreciate it. It's like, oh wow, like your nerves actually really matter a lot because when they're not acting, this is just like dead weight.
I
It takes an effort.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of similar things with Shad, except it was carpal tunnel for me. So my neck problem was
Yeah.
because of my wrist, and I would wake up. I'd have the pins and needles in my hands. Wake up with my arm like just hurting.
Here's goes the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
no, like my
Yeah.
my elbow hurt. Like because the thing is like if you need carpal tunnel, just get it done. You get a month off of work. It doesn't hurt. You almost feel instant relief. I literally after like a week and a half, I just played video games 8 hours a day. Like after at the end
Yeah.
of like a week and a half, I'd pick it up, put it down when I was my wrist would start to hurt. I picked my games wisely. I told my doctors like, "Oh yeah, that's good. The repetitive motion will help you." And then after like a half week of that, I could just hold it fine. And I had a month off work, so I just played a crap load of video games. But I will say, because this is one thing people always try to talk people out of, and it pisses me off. If your gallbladder is going, don't listen to people. Just get it out. Just get it out. Your symptoms will go away. You don't need it. It's a super simple surgery. I missed like not even a week of work when I had it done. They barely cut you open. The worst part pain wise is they pump you full of air and it would gather in my shoulder blades. But people always like are starting to have problems with it. And they're like, well, no, they told me I could do this. Like, no, just get it out. Just get it out. Because
I had a condition where the gastroenterologist didn't know what was causing it. And his thing was, well, we have to take your gallbladder out. We have to do it right now. And I was like, here I was like 20. And my dad's sitting there next to me. And I was like, no. And he goes, we have to do this. We have to take that out. I was like, no. He goes, if we don't do this, you might die. And I went, I'm done. Like, because here's the thing. If he had said, we know that this is causing it, that's one thing, okay? Like, this is what... But he had told me the day before he didn't know what it was, and now he's telling me I have to have my gallbladder taken. I was like... It's like, no, piss off. And I went to a different specialist, because I'd gotten scoped, like, twice before. And I go to this other specialist, and the other specialist is like, look, I don't rush right to that. It's not like buying a stereo at Walmart. You can't go back and undo it once it's done. He said, let me do this. I'm gonna go in there and look this time. It's like, okay, cool. And what he discovered was that the duct that goes from the gallbladder and the pancreas down into the intestines, the valve, whatever the right term for it is there, was too small. And so I think everybody kind of occasionally has a micro gallstone that happens now and then. Not a big deal. You flush it out, it's gone. But what would happen is they would settle underneath it because that thing wasn't wide enough. And every now and then one of them would kick into my pancreas and I'd just be doubled over in pain. Guess what he did? He took the scope, opened it up some more, cauterized it, and I've not had a problem in 20 years out of it.
see, I had
No.
A stricture?
what happened.
Is that like the term he used?
What happened with mine is mine was also too small, but like I never had any issues. But then my gallbladder just pretty much died trying to like work with it, so it wouldn't work anymore.
Mine's not.
Because the
I
thing
haven't
is,
had that problem.
if you get a really bad bout, like like with the puking and everything, people are like, well, do you want it out? Like, yes, I will die on the table. Get this thing out of me. Because I was like, for the month I had to wait, I was eating pretzels and chicken because that's the only thing I could eat that wouldn't make me puke.
Yeah.
And I lost like 20 pounds waiting for that surgery. And people are like, you worried about dying? I'm like, no, I would rather die than deal with this anymore. And like your chances of death, they tell you all that. Your chances of death are like 1 in 1,000. Literally what they do, literally how gallbladder surgery works is the same guy does it all day. You're literally on an assembly line. They dump you on a table and a bunch of people introduce themselves. They tell you to count backwards from 10. You're passed out by 7 and then you wake up and that's it. And for my carpal tunnel, they didn't even put me to sleep. They used a nerve block on me.
I was going to say, if you're going to get carpal tunnel, to get it done earlier so that it's not a big deal like what Brad's is, because my mother-in-law had hers done and she had waited and it was like big scars.
This is my, let's see, that's my carpal tunnel hand.
Like you can't even see it.
That's not even noticeable.
You can, it's a little, you can feel a little bit of scar tissue in there still, but like they cut me like that. I freak people out because I tell them what the surgery like. Well, because when they do like a nerve block, like I'd feel the top of my hand just fine and the bottom was totally numb. And people are like, did you feel anything? Like, I could feel a little pulling in my shoulder, like if they pluck something just right. But you can get atrophy though. You can start atrophying from it. They actually said I was earlier than most, so I didn't have like super bad complications from it.
Yeah. Hey, Shad, have you ever had anesthesia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't come out of it good.
The first time I had it done, I'm laying, because they were going to do an endoscope, and I'm laying there on the table, and the anesthesiologist is talking to me. You're a big dude. Do you do any sports? I said, well, how do you define sport? He goes, what do you mean? I go, oh, I'm a first degree black belt. And I hear, oh. And then all of a sudden everything just went black.
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be a Twilight thing. And I just imagine that whenever I said that, he went, "Oh, wham!" and just cranked the
I
knob over.
I did
Yeah.
so I did
Okay.
the stomach scope too, and I remember they put something on the table. Like, that's not the thing they're gonna like put down my. And then I was out. And then, but the funny thing was when they put me out. So I woke up and I was okay, but I had no depth perception. So like my wife had to stop me because I would just walk into doors because I had no like idea of anything. She'd have to be like, okay, sit here. And I think there was something she's like, if you sit down and I give you your phone, will you wait until I get the car? And I'm like, sure.
What were you gonna say, Matt?
For those go back like 2 years. But when I talked about me having like major surgery, brain surgery,
Yeah.
it's true. I had anesthesia. And I think maybe I haven't mentioned this when I talked about it on the show, but I had heard it described before. Or seen it. It's like, what is the anesthesia? It's like it's a time machine. It's like until I had it done, and I'm like, oh, they're right, because it's like they're talking like, all right, count down from 10, 9, go 10, 9, and then you're out. And then for me, it was like hours later. It's like, what, where am I? Like, what time is it? It's like, oh, it's like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, what? Like like last year, remember, it's like it was like 6 in the morning. It's like, yeah. You're out.
I'm like,
It is weird.
That was Eddie Kingston's back fist to the future because it made you travel through time.
you know what's funny
Travel
is
through time.
I
Now
don't
I'm in the future. Wow, what happened?
when they give it to me, they're like, oh, you'll be out like 20 minutes. I'll wake up exactly in 20 minutes. Like it doesn't keep me down for a long time though. The gallbladder I came out of really bad because I woke up and I didn't know where I was. And like, you have to understand, like, if I don't have my glasses on, I can't see. This is as far as I can see. So I wake up, I don't know where I'm at. I can't see anything. And then my stomach just hurts. And I start like freaking out. And they had to like, I didn't like get violent or anything, but I was like, I just started panicking. Like, and then they told me, like, okay. And like, do you need medicine? I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah.
When the surgery I had, like, it messed up like my vestibular stuff at the time, which made me like incredibly nauseous with movement.
Oh,
It got better.
God.
Like it got better after like 12 hours, 24 hours. But yeah, like I could only have like, the clear broth or whatever like that. But they gave me something, like they gave me like broth, whatever. But it's like, oh, be careful like sitting up. So like, yeah, I sat up and literally within like a minute, I'm like, oh no, oh no, and I'm like, like, nurses, and I just vomited everything because it's like motion made me incredibly like queasy and nauseous. But yeah, that got thankfully better after like 12 to 24 hours. That was not fun for time.
I bugged them.
I think it was more like vestibular stuff than the anesthesia. Like, I don't think I was like too woozy from the anesthesia.
They had me on oxygen, and I bugged them until they took me off it. Because like, if you've never had like the oxygen that they put like in your nose, like it's like having an itch you can't scratch, and it was driving me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's our
Medical talk.
yeah, our history of like medical horror.
Dr. Steve.
Yeah, fluid.
So we're leaking fluid all over the place.
You know what's funny with Dr. Steve? I've never followed up with him, but he agreed to do it at one point. But he was a cameraman in North Carolina in the late 70s, and he actually filmed the wrestling for the TV station in the late 70s. So he has all these stories, and like he worked with like all these, like, Flair would have been there, like all those guys would have been there.
Yeah.
When he was doing like the production stuff. But yeah, so I think Dynamite I think frustrates me because I remember distinctly when we did the Dynamite episode, there was a point where I just said, I see why this guy got paralyzed. I felt really bad saying that, but like, I don't even remember what he did. It was a bump he took from Harley Race, I think, and I was just like, dude, you're just dumb.
Yeah.
And we did have a bit of a show debate on this one, though, because there's a point where Dynamite gives Joe Malenko a tombstone pile driver. And there's a bit of a debate. Like, Matt and I don't think he spiked his head, but Shad does think he spiked his head. The angle isn't great, but we all agree that the move was too low.
I I think Joe's head hit the mat. How much he was spiked, I don't know. But at least to me, when Joe got up after that move, he was moving different than he was beforehand. And it didn't feel like he was selling. Now, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I've been hoodwinked before.
Yeah, Chad said that, so I actually looked at that spot kind of extra close, and it's not the best angle, and it happens really quick.
He is low,
And we were
though.
watching this on YouTube, so it's not like I could really greatly like fine tune and slow it down.
But as soon as he had
To
him in the
me-
move, though, he was low. Like, that's the
Yeah.
one thing I'm like, oh, Shad's right. He is low.
He was
Yeah.
low. I don't think he did it, but it wasn't. And I also do think that Dynamite's knees landed first.
Yeah.
And
I think
don't think he spiked his head, but it looked like close.
it
wasn't like
it was wafer thin.
Wafer thin.
Yes. I don't look, I think a lot of times like Undertaker's like tombstone look like crap. But it's like, and I don't need a guy spiked.
Yeah.
Sometimes with when Undertaker did it, it's like this is the mat. It's like he'd do the thing and the guy's head would be like way up here. It's like there's like 6 inches from it. And I get it's safe, so I'm not hating on that. I don't need a guy spiked. I don't need a guy
and the first time he did
concussed.
The first time, I think he got a little gun shy because he told this. I think there's a short of him talking about it, but he spiked Coco the first time he ever did the move, and Coco chewed him out about it. So I think he might have been a little gun shy after that.
Maybe. I'm using that as a point of reference. It's like that could be the other extreme where it's like you guys were really high.
And his hips were shit for like his whole career too. So that probably didn't help.
But this did look pretty low. Like I don't think he did it, but it was. Sun. Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Definitely, Chris.
A little more tight than if I was Joe Malenko, I'd be like, afterwards, I'd be like, good match.
That might
really
be
fucking tight.
That might have been a pop in the jaw after that. But I do wish there was a different angle because I think we would know if we had a different angle. But because the angle is kind of like, so like you're kind of behind and to the side. You're to the side but behind a little bit. So like the what you're seeing is his knees and kind of the back of Joe's head. So it's really hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah. It bugs me to have something like that happen, and especially someone who is supposed to be as strong as Dynamite was. It's just like, don't. I know, like you said, Taker's looked bad a lot, but I never faulted Taker for it because it's like out of everything he could do that looked bad, I'd rather that look bad than take the chance that could go bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll roll with that.
And I thought the finish was a little weak to this. I like some of the suplexes that the Malenkos did in both matches because they were kind of doing some more like stuff you'd see in the 90s. These matches, I will say, if you watch these matches, even the 80s ones are fairly modern in how they're presented. I thought the finish was kind of weak because Dynamite kind of botched it.
Yeah, it was that roll up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't look great.
But yeah, it didn't. So we're gonna go to our final match, which is also from '89. So this is a fan cam. Don't get scared. It looks pretty good. So this is Footloose against the Fantastics from a house show, a smaller venue, and so Footloose is Toshiaki Kawada and I looked his name up and I can't remember it. Crap.
Well, it's Ricky Fuyuki.
Okay.
They were the Footloose tag team. Yeah, Kawada. He was still pretty young at this, obviously before
he's like 7 years in at this point.
Yeah, but he was still kind of like.
This is like his first.
He hadn't really broken out. Yeah, and he was with Ricky Fuyuki. I think also at this time or at this time went by Samson Fuyuki. He, to me, I know him more when he like left All Japan. because he was one of the main talents of Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling,
Yeah.
FMW, in the mid to late 90s, which I kind of watched a good amount of stuff with, especially when I started getting like tape traders when I was in college and later, because FMW and ECW were kind of doing like a lot of they were doing like cross promotion and doing some stuff like Sabu. I think maybe Sabu, Rob Van Dam, and also FMW was where you could see guys like Hayabusa.
And it was like it was kind of like the It promotion if you were tape trading in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And so they're also in like a Tenryu stable at this point. Just
yeah.
FYI. So this is a house show. Shad was immediately taken with their coming out to the Footloose song.
Taken is one way of putting it.
Yes. But you saw the match.
Like, what the hell?
But I love the Footloose name of the music because it's a joke. Because they're gonna kick the shit out of you, so that's why they're called Footloose.
I guess so, but it just.
I did like the So the Fantastics are really good in this. What I like about them in this match, and I think it's the attention to detail about how respectful they are of Kawada because they don't want to get kicked. Like even when they try to lock up with him, they're trying to like lean in so he can't kick at them. But this is also so. This match is pretty good, but like it is a house show, so they're not like necessarily like putting in. Like
they're not killing themselves for it, but they're also not dogging it.
Yeah.
Like they're having a good run at it. And again, the Fantastics are doing great. And gosh, man, it's it's gratifying to see them doing so well in Japan like they did in the States.
I wonder if Kawada had all of his teeth in this match. I think he did.
He might have. Yeah, I think he did.
I don't know as much about him as I should.
Well, it's interesting though because this is '89, so he hasn't like broken out necessarily. Like you can tell he's like a featured player in the promotion, but like you can kind of see the potential. You can see like he has star power.
Yes, like, he's definitely the more standout of the two.
Yes,
I was trying to look up the. I was trying to look up the Kawada Kobashi match info. Eddie Kingston's favorite, just because it's a rabbit hole that pulls me down. I just haven't seen enough of any of these All Japan guys to really have a great grasp on them.
So the Four Pillars guys are kind of a tale of what your preference is because the Four Pillars are Kobashi, Taue, Kawada, and Mizawa. And most people are going to tell you Mizawa, but there is a stark divide from Mizawa and Kawada. I tend to be more of a Kawada guy personally, but you get your Kobashi and Taue guys too.
I'm a Kawada guy. Me and Eddie Kingston. Although I love all of them. Like they all deserve appreciation, love. Like Taue, the least of which kind of, but that's also unfair because he's actually awesome in his own right. But I felt to me he was always more like a tag guy. Oh yeah, Misawa with Kawada.
Chat, 3 disc
yeah,
collection.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but let me put it to you this way: like before, in the modern era, the Okada Omega series, Misawa Kawada, that was like the feud that had the best like matches, legitimately like 5-star matches before then. And before then, you could maybe say like Steamboat Flair, but
it was probably
like, legitimately
the series that defined the '90s, as far as like
out of what I've seen of those 4, I actually think I prefer Kobashi out of the 4.
That's a lot of people who've seen. Yeah, Kobashi was amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
it is almost like a personal preference thing.
It's weird because out of everything I've seen, and I'm going to admit right now, this is from lack of seeing it, but Misawa does not grab me.
You need to watch him in context because he does like he's a very good like top level baby face, but you need to
Mm,
watch you need to watch him in more context because I think if you watched him more and you got more like you saw his selling more and how he like presents himself, like he might not be your
yeah,
favorite, but I think he would grasp you more. Like you kind of like Mizawa in my experience doesn't grab you like necessarily the first time you watch him. He's kind of like he's kind of like Brian Danielson in that regard, who like the first time you kind of see Danielson. I'm talking way back in the day. I don't know like what that would be like now, but I'm talking about like when you run into him in like 2002. Like he doesn't necessarily grab you right away. Like you know he's good, but then like the more you watch him, the more you like.
So the first Brian Danielson match I saw was the main event from the first Ring of Honor show because I had the DVD for it. And it was a three-way where it was Christopher Daniels, Brian Danielson, and Low Key. And I was that part of that match pissed me off so bad is because I wanted to see more Christopher Daniels and Brian Danielson, and Low Key would not stay down and sell for shit the entire match. I'm like, no, let me see more of these other guys. I want to see this.
Oh
I'm
wow,
I'm interested by it.
what was the first Danielson match I saw? Wow. It might have been the Regal match from like that Memphis promotion we watched. That might have been the first match I ever saw with him in it. Do you know, Matt?
Now I've got to look this up.
that's probably not the first one I saw of him, but that's a really early one. It would have.
It would
I
have been
can't
a
pinpoint. It would have been a Ring of Honor match.
it would have been around 2002 the first time I saw him.
Yeah, probably about the same for me.
Oh man, what did I'd have to look.
Shad, I will say this
Yeah.
about Misawa. Um, Misawa is also like the king of not being like if the story of the match is like he's not putting away his opponent, like him actually like leveling up in the mid match and then like selling the desperation of like got to get the win and then busting out some of the heavier offense and really like kind of selling it. And Brad's kind of right that it's sometimes you have to watch it a little bit more to kind of get that because then you the more you watch it, and I'm by no means an expert, but the more you watch him, you'll see him start to doing that. It's almost become like it's a little bit of like a trope, but it works because I mean back in the day like Flair had a million great matches.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like he's going to put the formula. Here's the formula.
Yeah.
He's doing
Yeah.
it, but the formula is so great and he does
Yeah.
it so well that it works.
Just
Misawa
because
was
it's
a
a
little
formula doesn't mean that
yeah
you can be great at doing a formula. It just
yeah
means, like for me personally, if your formula is really repetitive, I'll get bored of it.
yeah
Sorry, please continue.
but that's Misawa. But again, I'm more of a Kawada fan than Misawa. But you're not wrong in saying like Kobashi because Kobashi was awesome too, and Kobashi had his own like strong. And I like Taue, but again, I kind of in my mind pigeonholed Taue as just like a more of a tag wrestler.
Yeah, he's kind of
me.
like a side. He's kind of like an appetizer piece more than like a main.
He did have some singles runs. They're more brief though. I'm trying to
He was in the Holy Demon Army, which he gets a lot of credit for, which is
yeah. I don't know how I would. I'm not quite sure how I would like quantify him in terms of like an American wrestler. Because who would I put? It's like because again I put him more of like a tag wrestler. So it's like who would you have like as part of like a really great tag team that then maybe did some single stuff and had success, but maybe not as much as like the other guy.
oh, that's tough because I don't think you quite
It is tough.
because you don't get someone when you say like success did get like a couple of brief spots at the very top. Like that's where it's a hard it's where it's a hard comp.
Yeah. So I
That
don't
is
know
a very
quite. I don't know
tough.
quite. Yeah, I don't know quite who to equate him with.
Yeah,
Um,
I do have an
I
interest. Oh, go ahead.
no, I don't want to I don't want to be like edging Christian
No, because
because
Christian had
you'd
too
almost
much.
Christian
Christian
has like had too much. Christian's been too good and like
one and
yeah,
Christian, I would say Christian has been largely hampered by WWE not using him well. But like anytime he gets out from under the WWE banner, he really. And I would say the
yeah.
other issue with that though is he's a better worker than Edge. Like he's always been a better
Oh
worker
yeah,
than Edge.
that's
Yeah.
speaking of the formula thing. The thing that they're a great example that I was just giving someone the other day is I think Christian's better because yes, Christian has his signature spots he does, but the guy mixes it up and does different stuff. Whereas Copeland is doing the same thing every time. You're
Mm.
gonna see the exact same entrance. You're gonna see the same, kind of build up on the spots, that sort of stuff. And I'm like, you know, during Copeland challenging Mox for the title, I was over. I don't know what the breaking point was, but I was over him. And I turned back and look at older stuff, and I'm like, no, no, I am completely over it now.
Maybe Matt Hardy would be a good comp.
I don't know. I don't feel like that quite fits either. That's getting
Matt's
closer
is,
probably.
yeah, Matt's a little. Matt's like Matt was underutilized, and like the Broken Hardy stuff, I think gets him there, but it's.
That's tough because I would actually argue that in the mid aughts, he actually was a legit like he developed into like a great worker.
And he became a bigger star than
Like
Jeff, which I think is, I mean, not in
yeah,
WWE land, but like he legitimately after that point was a bigger star than Jeff. Even in
yeah,
the AEW, he was a bigger star. And I
yeah.
still laugh at him chasing Sammy Guevara through a field, like shooting fireworks at him.
Right.
But I also think that's like creativity, though. Like he was way on
Yeah,
top, like he was way ahead of the curve on like that stuff.
I think that Matt is smarter than Jeff is the
And
best way for me to put it.
oh, the other funny thing you did, remember like when they were going into the first Broken Hardy match and they were doing the hype video and he's on like the lawnmower doing like the Hardy thing and he like mowed the Hardy symbol into the front lawn like that
Yeah,
still cracks me up. Like it's
yeah.
we should do that like as a series one day because it is legit funny even though WWE didn't get it.
No, they found a way to just both miss the point and Flanderize the shit out of that gimmick.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild.
Yeah. So Shad, what did you think of like the style of like the All Japan tag because it didn't have like some of the North American tropes to it, but
Yeah, I think that it's good in that what it would require is the kind of pace that, and I'm just using the Fantastics because they were in two of them. The kind of pace that they were using, being involved a lot. You don't have a whole lot of standing in the corner waiting for that tag sort of thing. You get involved, you do stuff, you move around. I like that. Um, I don't. I prefer the Southern tag style more, but I do appreciate it. If I was going to have an analog, I guess you've got Southern style tag and you've got West Coast style tag, and so the Japanese doing a more serious version of the West Coast
I'd
style
say it's
tag.
like a real
That's how I
sport
think of it.
tag kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. It's a more serious presentation of the West Coast tag style, I guess.
Is it funny cuz I had this growing with Japanese wrestling, but is it funny to get to like watch this and be like, "Oh, that's why tags were like that in the THQ games."
Oh.
Like I've had that with a number of things where like I'll watch a match, I'm like, oh, that's why that video, like Fire Pro or like the THQ WCW games are like that because it's
Yeah.
based on like Japanese wrestling.
Yeah. People um, hopping in all the time, and it's not the hot tag, dive for the hot tag kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think these were fun. It actually made me want to watch a bunch of All Japan tags because I do like the style. I like that the ref kind of just lets it go and just kind of like, no, you could, I'm not going to stop you. Just get the hell out of the ring before I hit my count.
Yeah.
And I think
And having a little bit of ref's discretion on how quickly they count and that sort of that goes a long way towards making it easier to swallow. Is some refs are going to have a faster count, some refs are going to have a slower count. It's like, okay, that I can get. Just have a codified rule for what the count is.
well, and I think like that's one of the things I've liked about AEW, which they've lost it a little bit here and there, but I like that their refs all have a personality in the way they
Mm.
referee. Where I feel like WWE, every ref is the exact same. Like you don't know the refs
I,
by name in WWE anymore.
I think it's. I think it would be fair to say that the refs in WWE are all made to work the same way. Could
Yeah.
they have personality? Sure. But in AEW, they absolutely do, and I very much like that. I like the fact that, Aubrey and Rick Knox and Remsburg have different ways of doing stuff. Like, I'm fine with
I
that.
mean, Knox is just in it for that Kentucky booger sugar.
Why are you putting that on us?
I meant to say
we don't grow cocaine
I'm
here.
sorry, I meant to say Tennessee booger sugar, and the wrong state came out. No, that's
We
just,
don't grow coke here, man.
that's just pot, Matt.
Yeah, Kentucky grows weed.
But that's still a funny clip. But I forgot. Oh, like that's when you go back. Like if you're watching a match and you start watching the ref, you're like, oh, that's Tommy Young. You don't even have to like recognize him. You're just by the style he's working. Like, oh yeah, that's Tommy Young. I can tell by like how he's admonishing people and interjecting and stuff. And I think WWE kind of lost that. Like I think it's bad in WWE when you watch like that the referees' names don't matter.
Yeah. The fact that it's just plug and play. Now, funny story that I heard, I don't know if it'll happen or what, but apparently WWE wants to hire Layla Hirsch to be a ref for the women's division so the other women in the ring look bigger.
That's such a waste of her though. But she's built
That's
bigger
just,
than them. I mean, she's short, but she's like built more than they are.
she's solid, yeah. Um, but I mean, when you need a job, you need a job, so
Hey, keep
I don't know if
cashing
that
them.
came through or not.
Keep cashing them checks. That's what.
Well, here I can
Maybe.
look. I can look that up, and see what her. Uh,
So this is an announcement for a couple weeks from. Well, it's going to be not next week, the week after. The Halloween movie for this year is Young Frankenstein. Have I know Shad and I have seen it a million times because we do quotes from all. Have you seen it before, Matt?
I think I've seen it once and probably decades ago, so it'll be new to me practically.
I think Gene Hackman was the last person that was still alive in that movie.
Really?
Because I looked it up a couple years ago, and I killed poor Terry Garr because I looked it up, and I was like, oh, she's still alive, and she died 2 days later. So, yeah,
yeah, Madeline Kahn and Terry Garr and oh wow,
I looked. Most of them are dead.
Peter Boyle.
Yeah. I don't think any of them are, unless there's like a kid in it, and even then, I think that one might. It was. I think when I looked, it was Terry Garr and Gene Hackman were the only two.
Oh, well, Mel Brooks.
I don't
Yeah.
think he was. I don't think
Was he-
he was in it.
He wasn't in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that was um by the way, Gene Wilder, not Gene Hackman.
No, Gene Hackman's.
No,
Gene
Gene Hackman was
Hackman's
in it.
the.
Oh, he was the blind dude, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, he was.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was
He
gonna
was not
make-
in front of the camera because that was Gene Wilder's condition.
Where are you going? I was
Of-
gonna make an espresso.
That was one of Gene Wilder's conditions for doing the movies. Like, Mel, you can't be in front of the camera for this one.
Yeah, his Gene Hackman, by the way, like his death was actually like
Terrible.
super sad because I became not obsessed, but I kind of like fascinated by that because here like he died and it was like
Super
weird what
mysterious. Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was weird circumstances.
oh wow. So, because he was married to a woman who she was like 25, 30 years his
Yeah.
junior.
Yeah.
But he died at 95. So the fact even like oh she's like 30 years younger, it's like okay she's still in her 60s.
Yeah.
But he had I don't think it was like widely publicized, but he had like Alzheimer's, I think, or dementia.
Yeah.
And she apparently died, and it was like weird. It's like you like was there foul play, whatever, or was there like a gas leak or something like that? Because the I think the cops like were investigating, but we don't really see foul play.
Yeah.
I'm reading now that she apparently died. She apparently died of hantavirus. It's like what the?
Oh
fuck?
yeah, I did hear
Like,
that. I did hear that.
I think I'd heard about that, but I was also like, no, like, because that's like you hear about people getting hantavirus, like, because there's like there's a rodent problem, whatever. But anyway, he was found, I think, like in the sunroom or something like that. Like he didn't die before her; he died after.
Yeah.
And because he had Alzheimer's, it's like she was basically like his caretaker. She died, and the poor dude just like he couldn't even comprehend that she was dead, and just like, so a
Stood
couple
away.
days later. Couple days later, it's like I'm sure there wasn't anyone to like take care of him, feed him, whatever. And he died, and I'm like, that's fucking
That's-
terrible. Gene
yeah.
Hackman, like Oscar winner. he won he won Oscars, right? At least one.
Oh,
I
he
think
had to
so.
have.
He received 2 Academy Awards. Yeah, and just like world famous, world class actor.
Also a good Lex Luthor.
In the first like 1 or 2 Supermans,
Wait,
like by
look,
Superman 4. Is
No,
like,
no, that movie didn't happen. We all agreed that movie didn't happen.
You know what?
There were
Let me
only
ask
two.
you this.
There were only 2,
Well, hold on. Have you guys seen Superman 3?
unfortunately.
The one with Richard Pryor.
Yes, unfortunately.
Were you also one of the people that I thought the movie's not good, but it's a dumb movie that's campy and they tried to go like a different direction with Richard Pryor, whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the movie, Brad, were you also like fucking terrified by when the woman becomes a cyborg?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Have you seen this, Chad?
I saw the movie one time.
I saw it.
And-
It used to be on. I think it used to be on TV a lot when I was a kid.
It was
so-
on, and it was when I saw it, and like there is such mood whiplash because it's like when they play it on TV, that's how I saw it. It's like, and it's like I feel like it was long. It's like one of those ones that it's like it's really like
Well, you had commercials in it. It's like a 3-hour movie too.
yeah, it's like what well that's the thing. It's like probably like an hour 45, maybe it's close to 2 hours, but whatever. Like
That
once
used
you
to be
add
a long movie,
commercials,
though.
It's like yeah. Once you add commercials, it's 3 hours. But I would watch it I'd watch it on TV back in the day, people don't remember. We're old enough. All of us are probably old enough, and it's like back in the day, they actually on like NBC, ABC, whatever. They actually used to play movies like at certain nights. Like they
Oh,
and
Sunday
sometimes it
night
was like
used to be a big movie.
yeah, and it used to be like pick a movie from like you see now, like whatever Marvel movie they're putting out. It's like they would like 6 months down the road, you'd see that on like TV.
And like it was a big deal
or a year down the
sometimes.
road.
Like I remember when
Yeah.
Batman Returns and like Star Trek 6 were gonna like get their
Yeah.
debut on like network TV. That was like a big deal.
Yeah,
And like you would have
Maybe-
stuff like you would also. I mean, that's not necessarily a new concept because you have like Sven Gulli, but you'd have Grandpa Munster would be on TBS Saturday mornings and would play stuff, and Jaws would be on like Saturday afternoon, like on
Yeah.
NBC or something. So you'd see a lot of these movies,
Yeah.
a lot.
So I watched it, and it's like it's not a good Superman 3 is not a good movie, and it's like, oh, whatever, this movie sucks. But then at the end, like, because one of the main villains is like this supercomputer, and then it takes a woman and like grabs her, and then starts turning her to a cyborg, and her skin turns gray, and her eyes are closed, and she opens her eyes, and they're just like gray, and it's like, oh, it's like what the. It's like it's such a mood whiplash from ostensibly a dumb movie and a movie that's obviously marketed towards kids, and it's terrified. And I feel vindicated because like it's repeatedly shows up on lists of like things that terrified you when you were young, like from the 80s and the 90s.
You know what's terrible is like everyone involved in those movies had like a terrible end to their life because Margot Kidder like went insane and killed herself.
Richard Pryor got, was it ALS? Did he get, what did he have? He muscular dystrophy or something like that. He did a lot of drugs, so I think
Yeah.
that contributed to that. Obviously, Christopher Reeve.
But like Gene Hackman, Christopher Reeves, obviously, and Margot Kidder like did not have a good end either.
Yeah.
I don't think people know about Margot Kidder because I don't know how much like play that got because I think she kind of like faded out pretty quick. But I don't remember what it was, but she ended up killing herself. But she had like really bad mental health issues,
Yeah.
like really bad.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
So I think that's it for this week. So I don't know what we're doing next week. Like I said, Young Frankenstein will be in 2 weeks. That'll be our Halloween movie for the year. So looking forward to that. I've seen that a million times. Like I could even skip watching it and I could still talk about it. Yeah, that's
that one gag. The first time I saw it, I legitimately fell out of my chair laughing. It just absolutely blew me away.
I just love the the what was it? What was the name? Abby Normal.
That and the the scene with the blind guy and the section with the soup.
Oh
Peter
yeah.
Boyle's face is so good for that. It's just excellent.
His just consternation.
Just the sheer pain on his face as he's trying to move the bowl around.
Yeah, and the twist ending is also hilarious, but we won't discuss that now because we can't ruin the good parts.
Right.
Oh, do they call you Frodrick? But that'll be in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining us as always. This has been Matt, Shad, and Brad. We've been in 3 Corners, and you've been in the 4th, and we will catch you next